Hello everyone, and welcome back to action. It is the Russian Grand Prix. It's round 12 for the European division. My name is Strifium. Joining me from the UK, of course, as always, Unicorn. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to another exciting week. Russia, this time out, fairly diverse circuit in terms of corner structure, and after an excellent week at Singapore, I think we can safely say that we're doing well right now in terms of action. I hope that just continues this week with Sochi.
Sochi, I think it's one of those circuits that a lot of people aren't too keen on. I mean, we had quite an interesting Grand Prix around here in reality this season. Now we'll have to see. We've got 5 of these coming up this week. We've also got an endurance race coming through around, this weekend on Saturday. But let's take a look real quick at the calendar, of course, for the endurance series. Not the endurance series, the European series. Getting my E's mixed up, perhaps. We have, of course, we're here in Russia, round 12. We have Japan next week, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Suzuka is such a fun and fantastic circuit, of course, iconic. We have the U.S. Grand Prix, Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. We're getting down nearing the end of the season now. We're here really on that right-hand side of that calendar with round 12, and then we're just got 5 races after Russia. So it's we're getting down there to the end of season 3 action, and I don't know whether to be I don't even know what to say about that. It's been such an amazing season. Now let's take a look at the teams. Take a look at who is going to be, of course, racing on this grid today. We have over at Mercedes, Luktra and Jake. With the Ferrari, it is Hurricane and Ruben, Dirk Chocolate and Cotters for Red Bull. We have Alexander and Kana for McLaren, Safso and Beavis for Renault, Steph and Tim over at AlphaTauri. We have Vettel and Filipich over at Racing Point, and they scored a 1-2 last week in Singapore, which I think they're going to look to continue form here. Vettel in Season 2 around here in, of course, the Misfits Racing League Tier 1 action. Had quite an interesting spin in this race. I don't know if he's huge on this circuit, but we'll have to see how the Racing Points do. XTXP and Relapse over at Alfa Romeo. We have Ewins and No Conviction for Haas, with Baza and Adam rounding out the 20 drivers on this grid. With all of those 20 drivers, let's see how they've fared through the season in the standings, of course. Quick look at these, because these are what it's all about for these racers. The drivers' standings right now, we have Filipich ahead of Hurricane by 20 points. The Racing Point doing quite well since his entrance into the division. Partnering Vettel, of course, over at Racing Point. You can see Vettel there in 4th, but we have Filipich, Hurricane, and Tim, your top 3 in the Constructors' battle. It is, of course, Racing Point in lead of this Constructors' Championship, with Ferrari and Mercedes not too far behind. Now, it was quite a clean race last week in Singapore, I have to say. Stewards, quite impressed. So, 2 reports were deemed racing incidents. So, have a clean race here in Sochi and keep up the great racing. Love to see it. With all of that, Unicorn, I do believe we are ready to go racing here in Sochi.
We are indeed. We've got a full grid, which is lovely. Just a few reserves here and there, but other than that, we've got 20 drivers ready to go racing around Russia, and yeah, it's gonna be good fun. I reckon this is. I think in game this track it can lead itself to be a little bit more entertaining than it is maybe in real life. Obviously, that third sector very difficult to overtake through, but like you said, we had an interesting race here in the real F1. With obviously Lewis Hamilton's 10-second penalty, or 2 5-second penalties, as I believe it was.
Yeah, what I remember, I think most distinctively in that race, to be very honest with you, was actually lap 1 and how things went through the first few turns here in Russia. And we did have a major issue. We saw Sainz actually have a massive issue in that race, and of course, we'll have to see if anybody has these issues here. It's a tight circuit. There's a lot of potential for, we'll say, I just realized I hadn't even joined spectator mode. Yay, that was a close shave. Could have been racing in this one. That would have been quite the sight to see, thankfully. 20 drivers on this grid, but yes, of course, we'll have to see what happens on the opening of this lap. Sochi, Track invalidations, things like this are quite common. And penalties may play a role at the end of this race. Another thing that's quite common around here, of course, let us know in the chat how many you think we'll see. We are, of course, talking about the safety car here in Sochi. Unicorn, it is quite common.
Yeah, I think, you know, you got this, it's a long run because turn one around here is not really the real first turn when we're off the line. You've got this huge run through the fast right-hander of turn one, and then everyone is just piling into that turn two. That's where we could see, if we're going to see a lap one safety car, that's the kind of place we could see it. And then obviously that long left-hander of turn three into the, 90-degree angle of turn four. The start of this race, you can gain a lot of positions, but you can also have an absolutely catastrophic error. So yeah, drivers got to be on top of their game at the start of this race as well as throughout, because safety cars, there's a lot of not right hand, 90-degree turns that can cause
Something
issues
else I'm curious to see here is the weather dynamic, and if we'll get any kind of roll in that sense, because it is, of course, a roll of the dice, and I have seen it rain around Sochi previously in some of my league racing, and I'm eager to see how that plays into this race. First driver out of the pit lane here is going to be your championship leader in the Racing Point. That is, of course, the Croatian driver, Filipic, who has taken the division by storm here. And that is in no way an exaggeration. He is very, very fast, very capable driver.
Yeah, he's been absolutely astonishing since he's come in, and it's really impressive how he's just absolutely showing everyone just how quick he is. And now he's got that top spot in the Drivers' Championship. I'm sure he's going to want to retain it. He's running past the Renault there. That, I do believe, is Bevisk.
Yeah, he's coming through now. I think Filipic was maybe confused there. I don't know. It was quite tight that Renault was hunting him. Maybe wanting that, we've seen it before, Unicorn. Maybe wanting that camera time. We've seen it with the Haas boys most commonly over in Tier 2.
Yeah, they definitely want to get out on that track first. It's just sort of it's a little mini race in itself. But speaking of Haas, both Haas drivers absent this evening. We have Domi and Mario over there in reserve roles, as well as Extreme, the only other reserve in the McLaren.
Just now beginning the first flying lap of the session. Of course, if any of the drivers happen to be tuning in or in the chat, or if anybody can give us an inkling as to what the forecast is going to be, I would be absolutely thrilled to know.
One other thing, I know there was that issue in real life with the track limits through turn 2, so I wonder if we'll see that plague any of the drivers here. Obviously, in qualifying, you can get those invalidations in the race. It's warnings that lead to penalties. So far, Beavis keeping this lap nice and tidy, though. No invalidations to speak of right now. As he comes down through turn 9 and onto the second of 2 DRS zones. And he is flying down through turn 12 into turn 13. This is a little bit of an overtaking hotspot.
Oh, most definitely.
You might see a few lunges up the inside here. We come out of that DRS zone, and it's just so powerful. For the final sector, a lot of 90-degree corners, super difficult to overtake through here, but a good run out of 16 into this one. 17 can give you the place. And then the final corner, turn 18, Beavis going to open up with a 131.5. Filipic destroying that turn, a 129.8. And Domi slopping himself straight in the middle with a 130.7.
XTXP. P4 here, Steph in the AlphaTauri. P3 here. And this grid has been very tight all season long. Someone we're happy to see back in the grid, I'm sure, is Adam. He always presents, well, some fantastic moments, if I do say so myself, in his reactions to some of the things happening on track. Lutra is here in the Mercedes. And, of course, Lutra, formerly a Tier 1 driver. Actually, I think he's had a trip in almost every division we have on offer here in the MRL. Tier 2, Tier 1, now EU. I think he's reserved club. Might have even reserved in the Oceanic division as well. But he's flying right now in, of course, the Mercedes.
Yeah, Lutra's someone who obviously, when I first joined MRL and I'm hopping in open lobbies, he was always at the start of this game fastest laps in qualifying, and he's definitely put the time into this game, and we've seen that pay off time and time again. There's a lot of drivers in the final sector. A lot of drivers getting out here quickly for flying laps, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but I've got a weird glitch which says lap 2 of 3. Obviously, this is not a 3-lap race. This is a qualifying session.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I've just tried to refresh the spectator menu, if you will, to no avail. Cotters is on a flyer right now. He's just gotten a very neatly executed tow from his teammate in Dirk Chocolate here, Baza, off to the outside. I have to say, some nice team tactics coming out of Cotters and Dirk Chocolate over at Red Bull. See Dirk Chocolate in the rear now. He's just heading down into the pit lane as Cotters comes through turn 18. What's the time going to be? It's good for P13 here. It's a 132 flat out of Cotters. His teammate Dirk just ahead of him by a small margin there.
Yeah, Mario went across the line as well. 130.8 just behind his teammate and just ahead of Tim. So we've got a little block of 3 teams there. Mercedes, Hassan, AlphaTauri, who have all got their racers lined up.
Even got the Red Bulls together on the grid as well. I imagine a driver who's going to be looking to perhaps pair themselves with their teammate would be, of course, Vettel, going by, well, the name that I first met him as is Angel. So I guess for today, we'll call him Angel. Angel coming down through on his outlap. You can see on the track map there, he has invalidated, but he has no ERS in utilization at the moment. He is saving things. And Vettel has been a driver throughout the entirety of this season who may have not had the most, well, we'll say, he may have not had the best luck through his first few races, but things have been coming through for him, especially last weekend, or week, we'll say, last Tuesday in Singapore, securing the P2 behind his teammate in iFelipic. Now, here we have it. Beginning the lap is the racing point. We'll check in with him in just a moment's time, as we're going to head on over with Hurricane. Check in on an invalidated lap. It would appear, yeah, he's not doing anything at the moment. So we'll go back to, of course, Angel.
Yeah, Hurricane invalidated through turn 3. You just want to hug that corner as tight to the left as possible. You just hugged it a little bit too tight. Now going again, similarly to what Angel did. Steph, interesting enough, is still putting in laps. He's 3 laps into his softs right now. I'm not quite sure what his game plan is over in the AlphaTauri, but definitely not want to finish that. Domi started to fly as well. We see sort of a second wave of flying laps coming out.
Angel, with a bit of a snap, corrects it well. Safso pulling off outside. Great to see that. He's on an outlap. We'll check in with him in a moment. Safso, another racer through this season, who's had quite the turbulent few rounds, we'll say. And he has a lot of serious pace. Safso, of course. But Angel right now on display in this racing point. Coming through Sector 3.
Yeah, like you said, Vettel, he's been playing with a little bit of bad luck. The one that sticks in my mind is Austria, where he's on for a good finish.
And look at that. Unicorn, a 130.3, and he's done it. He has joined his teammate on the front row. And look at that on the timing tower. You have 2 racing points on the front row, backed up by 2 Mercedes, following 2 Haas, and then 2 AlphaTauris. Take a picture, because there is a lot of drivers out on flyers right now. As you said, Hurricane was on a flyer. He's actually come in. We're going to check in with the Renault of Safsa.
Domi's had a spin through turn, what is that, 16. No damage on his Haas, but trying to get it out of the way. He's really hit those tires up. Like you said, Hurricane, he did invalidate. That was through Sector 3 this time, though, rather than Turn 3. So a little bit unfortunate for him. Jake, he's about to finish out a flying lap that's looking pretty strong and could separate the 2 racing points at the top of this grid. The Mercedes, can he get pole, though, from Ivalipic, who's also out on a flyer? It's enough to separate the 2 on 130.257. Ivalipic, though, is on a flyer, and he's set for a very minor improvement out of Sector 1, but can he find time for the second 2 sectors?
Well, I apologize, as I've had a bit of an interruption, as it would appear Adobe has a nice little nasty habit of alt-tabbing me for notifications that I'm going to have to look at very, very soon here. Quite irritating.
Oh, meanwhile, Ivalipic is about to slide. Can he improve? A 129.8 is his current best. It's a 129.3 coming out of the racing point. That's absolutely incredible. Luch is on for an improvement as well, albeit not huge. It's enough to overtake Tim, though, in the standings. A 130.5.
Things are quite tight in this grid. I was just looking at it. Ivalipic making things a little bit further, but realistically speaking, the grid is very, very tight. From Ivalipic all the way down to XTXP is about a second. And around Russia, that is that's scary. That concerns me.
Yeah, that is a very strong time from Atomzot across the line in the Williams. He's had a little bit of a issue with the game so far, but a nice half a second improvement puts him into 13th place.
Now,
2 Ferraris.
I was just going to say Ruben. Ruben was a driver who had actually indicated that he may be late to the qualifying session. So it's great to see him here and present and on a flyer. Now, you'll notice in the top left corner of the screen where you would normally see the countdown timer for the qualifying session. We haven't got one. It says lap 3 out of 3. Not entirely sure as to why. But yeah, we have no timer, so I have no idea how much time we do have left in this qualifying session. If I had to guess, we'd have about 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I just thought I'd be clever and go to the race director incidents to see if that said the incidents in the lap times, but instead, apparently some people got incidents on lap 4, when even the time in task says we only got 3 laps, so the lobby right now, very confusing, but we'll soldier through it, and like you said, I imagine we've got too much longer left to wait.
And the South African of Ruben now through the final turn. What's the time going to be for the Ferrari? I do believe that might have been building up, because I think he's just sending it now. Hurricane, his teammate, is ahead of him.
Yeah, Hurricane, we've already seen him invalidate 2 flying laps, and I was having a little conversation beforehand with Domi, and Domi said that Hurricane not feeling too confident coming into this race. Setup was pretty late to being completed. That's a
Ooh.
huge cut and almost flipping his car on the inside curb there. The Ferrari. If floor damage was a thing in this game, I think he would have some serious issues.
Domi's on an absolute massive lap at the moment. We'll have to see what he's able to do. He just had a bit of a slide out. We'll see if he was able to correct it enough to ensure the time here. There it goes. Front row for him. P2 out of the Hungarian in the Haas. It's a 1:30.040 for him. What a massive improvement. Still, however, 7/10 the gap to, of course, the very, very fast Croatian in lead of this race. Definitely giving me flashbacks to Season 2 Tier 1 action. Of course, Zmajo, the Croatian driver in that division. Absolutely a rocket through to the championship. Looking for a driver on a flyer at the moment. Everybody out on outlaps. Nobody looking to set anything just yet. Domi is on an in-lap. We're going to look in with Angel, because it is the Racing Point who I imagine will be flying to try and get back into that front row with his teammate. And he has the pace to do so. Domi and Vettel known to battle.
Yeah, a few others in this top 10 already as well. Alexander's going to be the next person to go on to a flying lap. Mario as well down in 8th place. He's getting prepped and ready. So I imagine this is going to be the final runs for most of these drivers. Alexander starting a flying lap. And the McLaren for Lepic coming up for another crack at the lap. And he's already got, like you said, a 7/10 gap to Domi right now, which is huge. Alexander keeping it super tight inside of turn 3. Very nicely done from the McLaren. Almost stepping a little bit too wide on exit of turn 4 though, and sending it straight into that wall. Again wide. He's suffering with a little bit of understeer here.
Big snap there from the McLaren as well, and I think he's just dropped it.
And like he was struggling a little bit there, wrestling the car, trying to get it around these corners as quick as you'd like. Mario's had a snap through the same corner as well. Turn 7, so proving a little bit challenging for some of these drivers.
On board with Vettel in that Racing Point right now. DRS wide open onto the rear as he moves through the straight. Well, somewhat of a straight, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a sort of a very slight.
Reminds me of
an S.
Reminds me of Hockenheim on the way down into the hairpin.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
It's a shame that track's not in. Mario, he's aboard his line. He's coming straight back into the pits.
There it is. Angel getting into the front row once again alongside his teammate at 129. 989 out of the Mexican.
Oh, and I think Luke just had a spin.
Oh.
The camera not quite keeping up, so I actually missed the spin itself. I just saw the arrow turn around on the track, and that's his final lap gone. He was on for an improvement as well. He might have been able to take Jake's, speaking of his teammate, Jake coming into the final sector. What can he do? As he's got just 2 corners to go. He's going to continue with the lap, so he thinks he's got something.
Has just jumped into P4. Can Jake undo that? No, he cannot.
Corners invalidates on the last corner. He was on for at least a 3/10 improvement, and that would have put him into possibly 11th place, but unfortunate for him. Beavis jumps into 12th.
Have Alexander now. He's coming through in that McLaren. Looking to improve that 130.7. Can he do it? To the line. A big slide across. Nothing going on for the McLaren there except a little bit of damage for the AI-controlled car to go around once again. Baza does not look like he will be doing anything better than a 131.839 as the Williams driver heads into the pit lane. And I do believe that will wrap up this qualifying session. Unicorn, Filipic, and Angel, the racing points on the front row here in Russia.
Yeah, super strong from them. The Mercedes not looking too bad either. Domi as well came out with a cracking lap, and he didn't think he could get the win around here, so his confidence coming in is low. Whether he's just sort of playing it down, or whether he honestly thinks that he can't put a dent in them, but he's the one with the best chance. He's not far off Angel's time at all. As well, AlphaTauri's Tim and Steph, they're encompassing the Mercedes. So I think we've got a nice little race shaping up on our hands here, especially with some possible inter-team battling with all these pockets of teams we've got across, at least
for sure,
down to about 13th.
Filipic on pole position here with Angel there lining up next to him in second and Domi in third. Tim, Jake in fourth and fifth. Of course, we will go down through the rest of this grid on the formation lap. Very excited to see the Russian Grand Prix here. Of course, the first of 5 Russian Grand Prix that we have for the Misfits Racing League this week. 3 more are coming on Thursday. And we have another one in the club division as well on Friday. We have the Endurance Series on Saturday. Welcome in from Canada. My name is Strifium. Joining me from the UK, of course, Unicorn. It is round 12 of the European division. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in, of course. Grab your friends, share that link. There is a ton of intensity about to go down.
Yeah, like you said, round 12. It feels like it's flown by, especially with the EU grid starting up what I believe was Spain on the calendar.
Was Spain, yeah, Spain. And then we went into a very, very grueling, well, I guess, gauntlet of races. A lot of street circuits came up after Spain. Monaco, Baku, and these drivers really hadn't had a lot of practice racing with one another, and that is something that not a lot of people know, but it takes time for drivers to really, well, learn one another on circuit. And once the drivers learn the habits of their rivals, they're able to, well, avoid a little bit more. Of course, Tier 1, that's what I'm talking about. Even now, Club Division, things have gotten so much cleaner as time has gone on because the racers, they know what they can get away with. They know what space to leave. They know what the other driver's doing. So it's very, very nice to see, and it provides, as we've seen, Unicorn, some extraordinarily tight racing. And although the qualifying times may not reflect the tightest grid, and I'll blame Filipic for that in this occasion, considering he was quite a cut above today, but the races with the DRS here in Russia, I imagine things are going to be quite tight on this grid, of course, barring any incidents, and that is one thing. Let us know in the chat how many safety cars you think we may have here in Sochi. Filipic, pole position here. Angel in second. We have Domi in third. Tim in fourth. Jake in fifth with Lutra, his teammate, right behind him in sixth. Steph in seventh. Alexander in eighth. Mario in ninth with Safso rounding out your top 10 here. Relapse in 11th, Beavis 12th, XTXP in 13th position with Cotters 14th, Adam in 15th in the Williams. We have Dirk in 16th in the other Red Bull, Baza 17th behind him with Ruben, Extreme, and Hurricane rounding out the rest of the drivers ahead of round 12.
Tim's been DSQ'd, so his tyres are going to be a little bit colder than he'd like at the start of this. And speaking of tyres, it's a soft medium around here. A few drivers outside the top 10, XTXP, Dirk, and Ruben, Extreme, and Hurricane all opting for the mediums, but only 5 on that other choice. So tyres, they're here, but it looks like everyone opting for a very similar strategy. Those aforementioned safety cars, though, those are the spanners in the works that we'll be expecting as the grid is formed up.
Well, the lights are coming on here, Unicorn. We are in Russia. Take us away for round 12.
There we go. The lights are on for us. They're not on for the drivers. There they go. They're on now. And the revs are high. There we go. We are away then for the first of many Russian Grand Prix. It's an excellent start from Angel in the racing point. I believe he just has an absolute terrible start. He's already down into third, and Tim is already threatening him. On the inside, there's a Ferrari smacking into the wall. Coming across the racing point and the Mercedes as well. That's Lucha who's been caught up in that one. There's a problem with Mario and the Haas as well with the AlphaTauri XTXP. And that is the first of the safety cars we're going to see here this evening.
Well, that safety car just saved us from a restart, I will say that, because that was a massive collision. And I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but of course these drivers, well, patience is a virtue, and you're going to learn it here, because this race is going to go ahead. I know there's going to be some people going, restart it, but welcome to the Misfits Racing League, where if you make a mistake, you pay. And of course, the safety car is going to provide those drivers an opportunity to get things fixed up, and hopefully they are as fast as they think they are trying to do what they were doing there. But let's have a super fun and fantastic race now, as we are going to get a rolling start to this race in just a few laps' time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out who's where, because I Felipe was caught up in that, but he's managed to hold on to 10th place. He's got a damaged front wing though. Lucha as well, obviously. He was entangled badly. He's got a damaged front wing as well. Tim down in 18th. Mario and XXP as well. But other than that, I think it's just those 5 drivers. And Felipe obviously starting on pole, so 10th is terrible for where he started, but getting off pretty lightly with how bad that incident could have been. It does look like he is going to hop into the pit lane though for a fresh wing.
I wonder how many drivers are going to be joining him into the pit lane. It looks like 5, 6, 7 drivers into this. 8 drivers. 8 drivers into the pit lane on the opening lap of this race around Sochi.
Yeah, and a few. I Felipe going for the hards. Dirk and Ruben joining him as well as Tim. Are they going to try and take those to the end? Is that the plan here? I would have thought, but maybe medians would have just been a little bit more flexible and stop at the end for some softs. But there we are. They're going to try it on the hards.
Cotters and Beavis have both made out massively here, as there's a big crash under the safety car conditions. Baza has just gone round and taken off his entire front wing, and I'm gonna say it. I think Ericsson might have hit him.
Yeah, well, Hurricane, he's managed to dodge that bullet, but yeah. Well, Williams crashing under safety car. Not a sight too unfamiliar to F1 fans over the last few weeks, but that's not what you want to be doing under these conditions. And like you said, he's got huge amounts of damage on that front wing, so he's going to be coming into the pits here, I would expect. He's going very slowly. Not quite sure why, because Dirk can't overtake him. We are still under a safety car.
Well, there's just been a massive issue behind the safety car conditions here, as there's been some illegal overtaking shenanigans, and these drivers should know better at this point.
Yeah, Jamie picking up a 5-second for that. And I don't think that's probably not his fault, because I'm pretty sure he was there.
Of course, the racers are recording, and they do have the ability to appeal these penalties given the nature of this. Well, given the current state of the game, we're flexible in that sense.
Stewards are going to absolutely hate this safety car. But there is now a huge tyre differential, so that aspect of the race has been added, where most people started on the softs. Now got a lot of hard runners.
The This has been such a unique race start. This has probably been one of the most chaotic race starts we've had in the Misfits Racing League, I think, to date. Very
Russia. It's a difficult run into that corner.
So much speed being carried. Everybody volleying for early position.
I'm trying to think of other corners that are quite so difficult first turn. Mexico's a long run, but it's not quite as aggressive. Yeah, Monza is a excellent shout, but this one definitely up there in the top 5, if not top 3.
I do believe we're going to have the safety car called in here, as it is Baza now slowly getting back to the grid. That second stop. Actually, it was the first stop for him, so it was a very good position he was in, where he had fortunately crashed out of. Now in a position on the back foot, if you will. So it is Angel leading us here ahead of Green Flag Racing on lap 4. The safety car has been called into the pit lane, and he will be the first driver to go.
And I imagine he's going to wait until he's out of that final turn. Or maybe out of this penultimate one here. Yep, he's gone out of the penultimate one. He's going to cause a train back at the rear, and what's happened back there?
No, that's Dirk Chocolate.
With the Haas of Mario.
Dirk Chocolate and Ruben both have damage now. Jake, looking along the inside, he's dispatched Steph.
Safso and Cotters as well there, side by side going into turn 2. Cotters taking a lot of the curbing, probably a warning from there. Similar things coming up between Atom and Hurricane as well, I believe. Cotters still got a Renault on his gearbox, though he hasn't been able to shake Safso just yet, but these 90-degree turns proving a bit difficult for these drivers to overtake through. Safso has relapse to worry about as well.
Things are quite tight in this volley for 7th position right now. Things are still quite heated in the fight for 3rd as well. Steph and Beavis are getting entangled on the rear of that Mercedes. That's Jake there in 3rd. Relapse is sticking with Safso quite well here, and something else is Hurricane on the mediums isn't too far behind them in that Ferrari, and he'll be looking to move ahead of these soft runners quickly on those mediums.
Yeah, it's an interesting going for the reverse of the most optimal strategy, if you want to put it that way, and that's what Hurricane's going to try and do here. And if this battle for 7th continues, which it may well, and there's a huge train of cars right now, that's when he's going to start seeing the payoff of that alternate strategy come in here.
I wonder which driver in this train is going to be the first to blink now. Hurricane is absolutely flying on these mediums, Unicorn.
Yeah, he's doing well to keep up, but he needs to make sure that he's able to, nurse these tires past, because obviously it's all well and good getting past these runners on the softs, but if he battles too much and they lose their wear, it could see him suffer at the end of this first stint, and he needs to make sure he retains DRS as well for when that gets enabled on the next lap.
Massive snake through this grid right now. Everybody's in close proximity. We haven't even had DRS come into the equation yet. Otters quite tight to the rear of Alexander right now in this fight for 6th position. The Red Bull going to be happy considering his position compared to Dirk Chocolate today. Dirk not having the best of luck, and there goes a snap coming from the McLaren. Cotters has patience, and he holds it behind the rear of that McLaren, and he can see that the McLaren is struggling.
Yeah, Yeah, he's got no reason to force the pass, especially through Sector 3. He's smarter than that. He's held himself up for just a little bit, and now he's got DRS. And he should be able to just breeze past the McLaren here.
XTXP and Extreme have had an exchange as it's XTXP into the pit lane. Cotters now on the outside. Is he going to get the move done? He has the look. He was alongside the rear tires there. But Alexander, a solid inside line through the turn, able to hold him off. And Cotters now needs to really pick and choose his opportunities, because should he have another failed attempt like that, it could be Safso looking to pick up the pieces.
Another thing as well, Cotters has utilized almost all of his battery. He's already into the teens, whereas Alexander about 0.5%, and Safso's at an 86% battery charge. Cotters has really got to be careful with how much of that battery he's using. He's exhausted so much of it, and it's going to leave him vulnerable to the cars behind. You can see him already chopping off the rear of Alexander. And he's got a couple of hungry cars behind him who aren't going to wait around, and it's Safso. Cotters now on 1% battery charge. Safso is going to have an excellent opportunity down into turn 2.
Now another driver we need to remember who is in this grid is Ifilipic. It's time to take a look at the Racing Point in 12th position, currently 1.7 seconds away from Adam in 11th position. And of course, Ifilipic is on the hards. He has to run a serious pace at this phase of the race, given that he is on the slowest tire. We'll have to check in with him. He is bringing down that gap massively, and someone who is behind him, who's also coming along not too far behind, is Lutra. Hurricane looking so tight to the rear of Relapse coming down through turn 3.
Yeah, getting
Turn 2,
as close as you can. I think any closer. No problem.
Safso. So tight now. It's just this entire train, and you really can't blink because you might miss it. They are really hunting for positions here. There's been a yellow flag. I thought I had caught that for a moment. Adam has had a major issue. He's dropped 2 positions to Ifilipic and Lutra as well. The yellow flag came up. Like he had a loss of traction and span around. Safso now DRS on the rear of Cotters. Are we going to see the move from the Renault to the inside? Which will, of course, give him the outside line through the next turn, but he's already clear ahead. And he has dispatched that Red Bull. Relapse now is going to be hunting down this Red Bull. And all of this fighting in the train is going to really start to give people an opportunity, like, of course, Ifilipic and Lutra, to catch things up. Hurricane now right to the rear of Relapse. He's actually gone into the rear of the Alfa Romeo, and we saw Cotters, I think, a moment ago give Safso a bit of a love tap. But that is going to be very unfortunate for the Ferrari, as that's damage. The front left end plate is off of that car.
Well, Relapse has got past Cotters. And Ifilipic is now within the DRS range of this fight as well. And he's on these hards. He's going to be going possibly to the end. I don't quite know whether he's going to be able to stretch that much out of these tires, but I don't think it's impossible. These guys, they're battling. They've got someone who set a lap time 7/10 quicker than anyone else in qualifying. Even on these hard compound tires, I think he's going to be a real threat. And Hurricane especially, he's not on the softs, he's on the mediums. And while he may get an advantage over the cars ahead in a few laps time, it's Ifilipic whose tires are going to outlast even his. And right now the racing
ride along
point looks
for this.
very strong, but a little slide.
Yeah, let's ride along for this journey now, and then have a look at how many positions he is able to make up. But he has to be careful. He has to be so careful given those slides. He's pushing. He's really pushing here.
Yeah, someone else as well. Steph has been clinging on to Jake's DRS. He hasn't really been close enough to make any sort of move, but I've been noticing on the timing tower, he's holding on to that 1 second gap and not letting it get any bigger. And it looks like Hurricane into the pits as well as Cotters. I know Hurricane. Well, had damage. Did Cotters get damage as well?
Well,
Or is he just
could
the
be
first of
those
the soft
softs.
runners?
I think it might have been the first of the soft runners here.
It is.
I think that they're getting a little bit more tire wear than they had anticipated, given the fact that they're all in close proximity. They're having moves being, they've had to go defensive in certain situations, and these things are going to present different tire wear. And Filipich now has made his way into 9th position. Lutra behind him into the points as well. Steph hunting down Jake for P3, that final podium points position, essentially. I think these softs are done.
Train. It's a little train for me for P5. Beavis had Alexander on him already, but his teammate Safso has caught the McLaren of Alexander, and he's had relapped, barking up his gearbox for the last few laps. So we now have a new 4-car train. And Filipich probably going to be aiming to look at this as Alexander looking up the inside into 13. Not going to make the move. Goes a little deep. And it almost... I don't know if there was contact. And I think that might be an end plate. And it's Relapse going to pick up the pieces of that one. He comes up the inside of Safso, taking up the 7th place from the Renault, who's now going to dive into the pits. Super unfortunate for him. You've got Domi coming into the pits as well.
Well, if you're on the radio there in that Renault, you are telling Beavis, you better go because I'm coming in. And you better not stack me because that damage was very unfortunate, of course, for Safso. Safso, a very quick driver. He is going to take this opportunity to get off of those tires anyway. He's going to take a couple of extra seconds. Jake's just taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings, and he has Steph within a second of him right now, which is not going to be good if the penalty situation gets tightened up, by chance of another safety car or something like this. Now we have Alexander, who had that moment, of course, fighting, where Safso tried to, of course, take advantage and took that damage. But he is hunting down Beavis for 4th position still, and I have a feeling we'll see that move once again from the McLaren on the Renault here. Ooh. Very lucky there not to take a penalty. And speaking of penalties, XTXP has just taken one 3 seconds after multiple warnings. And here we have it. DRS once again a little bit closer this time for the McLaren.
Yeah, this is a good run on Beavis. Again, he's going to look up the inside, but he doesn't want a repeat of last lap. There's a little bit of contact between the two, but it is Alexander up into P4. And Relapse again. Let's see if he can capitalize on another Renault having an issue. It doesn't seem to be the case. Angels into the pits, and also it's worth pointing out that Domi picking up that 5-second penalty under the safety car for the yellow flag ignoring. He's just taking 11th place back, but he had to serve a 5 seconds in the pit lane when he came in for the mediums. As Beavis gets into the pits as well. Filipich on the rear of Relapse. These guys are all going to come into the pits, and I do believe that the Racing Point will be back into 1st place before long, once the top 3 come into this pit lane and get off of those aging softs.
Filipich is on a serious hunt right now. He had that major issue resulting in, of course, the safety car through the opening major turn of turn 2. And, well, here we have him on these 8-lap-old hards in 4th position with 3 soft runners ahead of him. And, of course, as you said, none of them have come in yet. They are the last 3 drivers to do so, which will put Filipich back where he began things in this campaign, and that's in lead of things.
Yeah, his strategy is the only thing that might hold him back towards the end of this race. Can those hard tyres make it pretty much the entire distance? They're already 8 laps old, and we've still got 16 laps to go, so it's going to be a little bit of a tall order. But if anyone can do it, it is him.
Now,
Meanwhile,
Extreme is giving Jake an issue right now, and it's a big issue because he has Domi behind him. And if Extreme puts up a big fight, and I do believe the fight is done now for him, and now Alexander has had a big spin. A big spin. This is going to cost him massively, and it's those 10 laps, soon to be 11-lap-old soft tires, and you can see a big drift out now. The tires are going to be very hot. Steph has come in and taken a penalty as a result. All of the soft runners have made the call. Lutra's now into 2nd position.
Yeah, look what it is. It's Filipich, 1.7 seconds. The one thing that's interesting though, can Lumpia on these mediums, or maybe Angel as well. Angel's actually still a fairly large threat. He's only 7.3 seconds behind, and that is a big gap, but he's on fresh mediums compared to already 9-lap-old hards on Ifilipich. So these two, we were seeing some inter-team battling.
Domi has had a big issue now. He's fighting with Extreme, and he had a big kick out coming out through turn 2. Extreme going to hold on to 6th, and Domi needs to dispatch this McLaren as quick as he can. He's going to look to the inside. Oh, is he going to get this move done here? They're wheel to wheel now. Steph is going to look to capitalize on the McLaren as well. A little bit of contact now, and there they go. That's a big crash, and that's Extreme and Steph coming together. That is Steph out of this race. What on earth has happened there? Virtual safety car.
Yeah,
oh my, Steph, who was on for a fantastic result. Like he got tangled up there with Extreme, and I have no idea what. Oh dear, the stewards are going to be all over that, I can guarantee.
Yeah, it was a rather interesting visual affair, or at least on my end. You've got the two cars coming together. We are back to green flag racing, and it looked like the front right just popped off of Steph's car, but it was in fact the contact with the wall, and Lumpia into the pit lane. He's serving a drive-through penalty by the looks of it.
His teammate Jake's got plans for Tim, though. Coming up the inside now, back into 3rd position is Jake. A little bit deep. Tim, however, on these hard compound tires, not getting quite the same response out of his rubber as Jake at the moment.
Yeah, Relapse has just got past Barza, and it looks like Mario and XDXP are going to have an exchange as well. Relapse as well, because of that DRS he had that he got past Barza, he's been brought into pretty good fighting range with Lumpia, both on very similar tires, pretty much identical, fresh mediums, so that could be an interesting battle if Relapse can get DRS down into turn 12 and 13.
Position changes. You can see there's quite a lot of red in amongst this grid as far as the position changes. Domi's dropped 2. You have Safso down 1, Alexander down 4, Mario down 5, XTXP down 2 positions. You have Dirk down 1, Adam down 3, and we have a yellow flag now. That is a Williams, I do believe. That is Adam, who's had a major issue. McLaren coming through. That's Extreme.
Yeah, in this race, all the first sort of pit window has opened and closed. Everyone off of those starting softs. Now, Domi looking have a look at the rear of Tim, switching to the outside, the Alpha Tauri on 11-lap-old hards, getting passed by Domi. He's already served the 5 seconds that he on in the safety car. Now looking to hunt back those podium positions, and what we want to see is XTXP is out of this race.
Had a major issue. What has happened to the Alfa Romeo?
I imagine that's a pit walker. But it looks like the car's still moving, actually.
It might have just been a retirement on the way into the pit lane. The yellow flag is what always brings the response.
Catches your eye.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't really know why it flags it when someone retires in the pit lane. But
could just be the flag and the drivers behind them that there's an issue. And I don't know. Bafso on those 3-lap-old mediums hunting down Cotters for that final points position right now.
Beavis is Barzo as well on the rear of Beavis, looking for a couple more points, and he's on that 10-lap-old hards as well, so it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do in terms of putting up fights with these drivers, because obviously it is going to be for positions, because most of these drivers now will be aiming to go to the end on their current tyre compounds, and Barza is in a bit of a... He's got a bit of a problem in the form of the fact that he's within this group of Welsh mediums, whereas by Felipe, he's got 8.4 seconds, so I think he's actually pulling out a bit of a gap. I believe it's around 7.3, as Safso and Codders have exchanged positions. Game not letting me go on board with that, but the Renault up into 10th place.
Neat move from Safso there. There was not much that Codders can do with the utilization of that DRS down into turn 2. Things have spaced themselves out massively, and look at the tire difference. And there goes Codders. He's just exceeded, I do believe, taking a 3-second time penalty as a result. But I imagine there's a few drivers on this grid that would really like to see a safety car. And as I say that, there's been an issue with, I believe it is the Williams of Adam once again. Not entirely sure.
Definitely him. Well, I think he may just pulled off to the side to let the front runners through, and him doing so has flagged it as a slow-moving vehicle. So, don't think any major problems for him. There's still this battle for what it was 10th is now 9th, sorry, because Bars has been caught by Safso and Codders.
Codders could net a point here if he keeps up with Safso in this DRS.
Well, I think a no-issue race from Codders. Season definitely in the points, ahead of Barza at least, so... We'll and see.
Still quite a bit of racing yet to go. We have Safso now looking to the inside. As easy as you like, down onto the inside through turn 2, and now Codders is going to have to catch up to this action. 2 drivers out of this session. Very unfortunate. XTXP retiring into the pit lane there, and Steph in a major crash that, in my genuine opinion, should have warranted a full safety car. Did not, but he is out of this race there. The bottom of the timing tower.
I think Barza is already struggling on these tyres and might put the softs here. Not maybe on this lap, but in a couple laps time, I wouldn't be surprised he's not taking a lot of the apexes. I just don't think he's got the tyre grip for it. I think he's already feeling the wear on those 12-lap-old hards, and if that's the case, I don't see him making it to the end of this race on this compounded tyre without issue.
We're going to see him move here. Yeah, from the inside now, the Red Bull.
Late on the brakes from the Williams, though. Very nice defense from Barza.
He's holding well on those hards. Even though the pace is clear, he still has that defensive ability, and there's a bit of a slide coming out of Codders. That's going to cost him just a bit of time, but Baza says it's time to jump into the pit lane. So, Codders will inherit a position. Now speaking of inheriting... Real quick, Jake and Domi are fighting.
And Domi's done very well to catch this Mercedes. Well, I was going to say, if Bars is feeling the effects now, what are Tim and Felipe going to feel? If they're not feeling it yet, they've still got 10 laps, so surely they're going to be feeling it soon, or at least before the end of this race. And that could bode very well for Angel, who is now... He has caught about 1.2 seconds in the last few laps since we last checked in. And I believe he's going to be well aware of that deficit closing.
We have Domi, DRS now. For the Haas, he is gaining on this Mercedes and Jake here, and it's a move for podium position. Up the inside now is the Haas. Jake, as Baza was a little bit later here on the brakes. There's still wheel-to-wheel. Jake does not want to concede this to the Hungarian at all, but there goes Domi into 3rd position. Jake now is in a good position to move back on him heading down through into turn 2. He just has to hold it real tight to the rear wing of that Haas. He needs to be staring at that Jack and Jones labeling. Coming down through the pit straight now. DRS wide open on the rear wing for the Mercedes, and it's Domi who is looking to lose this position right now. Are we going to see the move out of the Swede? Coming down into turn 2, he's gradually looking to the inside, but there's nothing doing, and it's the Hungarian who has seemed to have locked down third for now.
He got a nice run out of the final turn, and I think that was what prevented Jake there from making that move happen. So, very nicely done from Domi. And we saw it there. As soon as someone's got that outside line coming through 14 into 15, there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. Turn sector 3, very difficult to overtake, but if you've got the ideal line, it's then pretty much impossible to defend. And there's a yellow flag being thrown up, but what is that for?
I'm kind of sure there was a penalty just thrown up. Hurricane on 8-lap old hards is currently catching up with Alexander in the McLaren.
Again, I think maybe just the Williams are about to let him past. Flying
Hurricane has secured the DRS on Alexander. This is crucial for the Ferrari to bring himself ever so close to that 11th position to perhaps capitalize and take down Cotters as well, because Cotters is losing position right now to Alexander, and of course Hurricane's catching the both of them. Of course, what are the penalties looking like for the top 3 drivers at the moment, Unicorn?
Well, look, let's see. Well, we know Domi served the 5 seconds and he got on safety goal. Filipic as well, presumably has served the 5 seconds he got on lap 1 for that incident. So, Filipic clear, provided he has done that. Angel's got 3 seconds, and Domi has 6 seconds. Jake with 9 seconds of penalties, and Tim has a 5-second penalty.
Tim has more than a 5-second penalty. He has Lutra charging him down in the Mercedes right now for 5th. Less than half a second is the gap, and we're still keeping a close eye on the grid as well, as Hurricane is gaining on Alexander and Cotters collectively right now. Dirk Chocolate gets the fastest lap of this campaign, a 133.8. He's on the soft compound tires, and he's taken that point out of the equation for the top 10. But here goes Lutra down the inside of Tim in the Mercedes with a very neat move. It's a very tricky camera angle there, but he has made it through into 5th position. Now we're going to look back here as he has got some friends in the rear of this grid battling. Alexander and Cotters now wheel to wheel. Alexander through. This is going to be the Ferrari around the outside of the McLaren. Is he going to get this move done? No, he is not. Nobody has exchanged position just yet, and there is the McLaren with a bit of a slide off. Mario is gaining in the Haas, and you can see Hurricane has moved through on Alexander. Cotters is trying to escape while these two battle.
Wow, Alexander made 2 mistakes there. First of all, he was too late down into turn 13, and there was no way he was going to make that move without costing them both a lot of time and potentially causing an incident. And then he lets Hurricane have the outside line down into turn 15. And like I said, as Hurricane looks up the inside of Cotters into turn 2, and he's got that move done as well. So Hurricane has taken both of these guys, and that's
Here's
absolutely
Alexander
crucial.
round the outside now is the McLaren. He's looking at Cotters tight here. Is he going to go up the inside? Yeah, big lunge out of the McLaren. Does he go around the inside? There's contact, and there goes the McLaren around. Here comes Mario in the Haas. Alexander gets things spun around and back going, but that was big contact there. And
yeah, well, Alexander's...
That's tough. Bit of a frustration weave there coming out of the McLaren as well.
Yeah, well, that's, 3 mistakes in about 3 overtaking opportunities, or well, 2 overtaking and 1 defending, and he's lucky he hasn't caused Cotters any issues there. Otherwise, that would definitely have been under steward inquiring. Jake's caught up to Domi for this final podium place, and he's going to have DRS. I don't know if he's going to be close enough, though, because Domi, again, has got a stellar exit out of that final corner. So I don't think the Mercedes is quite going to gain enough. He's weaving. He knows he's on stream. One of these drivers that listens in to get some information, but not making it.
Well,
Domi still in P3.
speaking of information, and the key thing to note here is Felipe. He's on 18-lap-old hards presently, of course, and the big question is, where is he going to land when he comes in to change those tires? Because I guarantee you he will be changing those tires. If he doesn't...
I don't think he will.
No, there's no way. I don't think so. He can pull off some pretty incredible things. We've seen it, but to bring these hards to the end and take a win, I don't know. That'd be a very neat trick.
I think he's going to take them to the end. Whether he takes the win, the one thing he's going to count on here is the fact that his teammate has a 3-second time penalty. Now, assuming that Felipe served that 5-second time penalty in the pit lane that he got for the lap 1 incident, he should be clear. So, Angel doesn't actually have 6 seconds. He's got 9 seconds he needs to get. And I think that is too much for him to gain. I think we're looking at a possible another 1-2 for the Racing Point score. But it depends. Like you said, I don't think he can afford to pit here. I think he has to just try and take these to the end. But if we see a puncture, that would obviously, again, the race ending. But if we saw one, I think it'd be on the last lap. So I think he just has to risk it and go pretty much the whole way on one set of tyres.
Well, Jake is still hunting down Domi here, and it's quite tight between these two. It's the tightest battle on circuit, and they are both conserving energy quite well here. And both the Mercedes have been driving a solid race. Take a look at the position changes right now. They both made up a position each, and the drivers ahead. Of course, Felipe, what a recovery from him to lead of this race.
The Jake and Domi battle, Domi's got 6 seconds less penalties than Jake. They both got... Domi's got 6, Jake has got 12. So Domi just needs to be a bit casual in how he
to Russia.
affects this.
That's a lot of penalties. A lot of penalties. And that, as we've seen, can always shake things up. Of course, we are on lap 22 out of lap 23, excuse me, as Felipe just crossed the line. We're getting to that point where there can be no more safety car in this race. So if it's going to happen on lap 23 or 24. We have Safso hunting down his teammate in Beavis.
Yeah, everything's just sort of calmed down, but if penalties play a role, the gaps on this grid aren't huge between most of these drivers, most within...
Beavis just signaled Safso, if I'm not mistaken, letting him know that he is going to pull off, or perhaps just let him through easily. There's the back marker of Adam pulled off on the inside, and Safso is neatly through into 8th position. He's taken a penalty. I believe Angel just took an additional penalty as well.
Angel did indeed take another penalty. That brings his total to 6. Which means that he's now equal with Domi, but I think Domi is probably...
Here's Extreme. The back marker. Looking at Vettel. Quite tight to the rear, and I'm not entirely sure if it was Vettel that has just passed him or if he has caught things up, because he is on the softs.
I want to know. I can't see the gap right now between Domi and Angel. It looks insurmountable though for Domi, but if Angel's still picking up penalties, he needs to be a little bit more careful because...
Here we have Extreme. Looking at, I'm just looking to see if Extreme's gonna overtake this lead driver. Curious case here. We'll check back in. Mario, however, a battle for position, is looking at 11th.
Well, you're fully entitled to overtake lead drivers, provided you just get out the way and that's it. Leave. You can't If you're on similar tyres, you don't want to be battling people that you're not actually fighting for position.
Here we have it, Mario around the outside now. DRS in utilization for the Haas. Clean cut move through on him.
Another time has come back for me. Domi, 10 seconds behind Angel. I think that is going to be pretty much impossible unless Angel has a spin. I don't think Domi has many hopes of catching up there for P2.
Potters is on the fresher rubber in comparison to Mario. We'll see if he's got an opportunity to fight back. Jake is just dancing in and around that 1 second range of Domi.
I think Jake needs to be careful. He doesn't want to battle Domi too much because he's got all of these penalties. His teammate behind only has one, so I think we are going to see some positional changing, at least between the two Mercedes. I think Lutra is within fighting distance of Jake as Cotters goes a little bit deep, trying to get past Mario, and it's going to lose a bit of time to the Haas, I think, as a result of that. Ruben as well has caught Alexander, despite the Ferrari having much older tyres, which are presumably right now completely gone. I'm surprised they're all still on that car, to be honest. 19 laps. 20 for Mario, so he as well is putting up an excellent display of tyre management.
I think the tires now for Felipic have hit the cliff because Angel has started to gain on him with the mediums, but even then those mediums aren't going to have a ton of pace in them at the moment to go and hunt down 5.6 seconds. So I believe that we are going to be seeing me eat my own words in the case of Felipic twice in a row. He continues to impress beyond belief here. Ruben up the inside now. Him and Alexander are doing the tango.
The thing with Felipic is those tyres. I think a lot of people, especially in the chat, definitely believe.
What a battle here between these two. But big wide sidestep, if you will, out from the McLaren there. Ruben in 13th position has to deal with DRS now.
We've seen Alexander try this one before. Is he going to be a little bit more successful? He is. That's...
No, he isn't. Ruben with the hold on the inside, neatly done out of the South African.
He came out of absolutely nowhere. It looked like Alexander had done it. It was much cleaner on the overtake. Got through without much problem.
Hurricane has made it ahead on Saf, so it would appear. Not entirely sure what's happened to him there.
Ferrari's on a bit of a late charge.
Speaking of late charges, Unicorn, I wonder if we'll see anything come out of the battle that Jake has been keeping with Domi throughout this race.
Yeah, the penalty situation gonna tie him down, but it still would give him, you know, some nice bragging rights if he could beat him on track. But Jake needs to be careful of his teammate Lutra, who's got a fair few less penalties than Jake himself, so Jake's battles with the car behind. He doesn't want to lose time behind him.
There's a yellow flag to Sector 3, and who is that? That, I think, is...
Hurricane.
Is it Hurricane?
He's missing a huge portion of his front wing.
That's massive. What an unfortunate issue. I don't even know what to make of that. Now he's had to come in.
An ultimate lap as well.
Oh my. Yeah, there it is. Wow. Wow. That is hard. That is hard. Right there, man. He retired the car. That right there. I mean, there wasn't much he could do. He was out of the points. He was out of the points.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's not like he had the gap as his teammate Ruben looks for an overtake around the outside of turn 2, but Alexander late on the brakes. Defends the position fairly valiantly. It's the last lap, so there's not too many more opportunities.
Last lap, battle for the last points position here. Filipic takes the checkered flag here for round 12 of the European Division, winning the Russian Grand Prix. Cotters and Safso now having an exchange. It's Safso. He's got a massive amount of front right damage on that wing, which explains the drop. And there goes Cotters into the points. It's Angel coming home in second with Domi in third. Jake secures fourth position here. Lutra is just creeping to the line.
I think he's going to give his teammate the position.
Well, he is so fortunate because Tim's just come through and he's
lost
lost to relapse. Yeah, it cost him. Wow. That's a tough pill to swallow over at Mercedes as well. Mario coming through in 9th position. Cotters, 10th position for him in the Red Bull, getting his points here ahead of Dirk Chocolate. There goes Safso, excuse me. Safso has just denied the Red Bull his points. Penalties, penalties, penalties. Playing a role here in this one, the South African.
Alexander's just had a... Yeah, Ruben's just gone around the outside of Alexander, who's had a kick, and Bars is now in 13th as well. So, plenty of last lap action. And also, we were saying how, you know, Filipic, is Angel going to catch him on the last lap, you know, in the closing stages? Filipic pulled out the fastest lap of the race on the final lap on those hards.
You're joking.
No. His pace was absolutely insane. He got the fastest lap on the last lap on what were about, I think, 23 lap old hard tyres. So, absolutely incredible. He deserves his dance on the podium.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He's also going to give me a I told you so later after the race, I imagine. That's twice in a row he's had me put my foot in my mouth, if you will, in some of my predictions. What a race. That was a very, very unique and exciting race in the end. A lot of hard battling there. Of course, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. There it is. A 1:33.5 out of the Croatian on the final lap of that race, and we'll check in with the tires in just a moment. But of course, with the win, very neatly done. It's another 1-2 for the Racing Point team here, with Domi in a reserve role, bringing home some points for Haas. Jake in 4th position, Relapse in 5th, Lutra 6th, Tim in 7th, Beavis in 8th, Mario in 9th, and Safso collecting the final point here in this one. He started this race in 10th. A very up and down dynamic race for him as always, and he has finished it in 10th, and well, one of these days I swear we'll see him winning quite consistently. It's just the bad luck, of course, in that one. Cotters, Ruben, Baza, Alexander, Dirk, Hurricane, Extreme, Adam, XTXB, and Steph all here joining us in this one as well. Let's take a look really quick. Filipic, hard compound tires from lap 3 to the end of this race, and the fastest lap of the race on lap 27 as well, 1:33.539. Wow. Well, that was a very fun and unique race, Unicorn. Let's have your take on it.
I mean, Filipic is... If that's not one of his strongest tracks, then I don't know what is. That is utter dominance, especially after that first lap incident as well. You can almost forget about it if you just tuned in on the last 3 quarters, not even the half of it. You'd think Filipic, he started on first. If you tuned out for the first 5 laps of the race, you wouldn't know that Filipic had a problem on lap 1 and was down into 10th place. Absolute dominance. Angel and Domi coming home in 2nd and 3rd where they started as well. Relapse, 11th to 5th. He had a fairly quiet race, just taking advantage of situations and just poaching overtakes where he could find them. And that's how to do it. No penalties as well. Promoted him, obviously. Lutra suffering there, trying to give Jake the position, not wanting to take it on penalties from his teammate. But you know, what a race from, you know, the entirety of the top 5, all of them. Brilliant races. and iFilip, which again, I can't stress enough how the last lap, the fastest lap on that final lap is just absolutely nailed home how absolutely incredible he was around here tonight.
It was just a super fun and exciting race. I think that everybody can be happy with that one, even though some of the drivers may not be, of course. It was a very unique start to that race with the opening safety car. A few drivers recovered from that, one of them being the race winner in iFilip. So, very, very, very dominating performance, as you said, from him, the Croatian there. Of course, his teammate Vettel in second, and it was Domi, the Hungarian, in third. Another very, very impressive drive from him. Now, with all that being said, we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we have 4 more Russian Grand Prix races coming through this week. 3 of them are happening this coming Thursday. Of course, the times and things like this can be found in the Discord or down below. And we have the Club Division on Friday, as well as the 100% distance race being streamed on Saturday. The track has yet to be determined. The votes have been coming in from the racers, and we'll be joining that on Saturday. But once again, of course, from Canada, my name is Strifium. Joining me from the UK has been Unicorn, and we are going to wrap things up with the outro as always and raid a community member in the F1 2020 streaming world. So we hope you'll join us for that, and we will see you on Thursday for more racing action. Thank you very much.